The phone vibrated against my thigh, a message notification lighting up the screen. Another work crisis, probably. I shifted on the hospital chair, careful not to wake Mom, who'd finally drifted off after her physical therapy session. The message preview showed an unknown number, and beneath it, an image thumbnail that made my stomach drop. I opened it. The photo showed Mark, my husband of 23 years, with his arm wrapped around Jessica Chen's waist. They were at what looked like a hotel bar, her head tilted back in laughter, his lips pressed against her neck. The timestamp read 9:47 p.m. last night, when he told me he was working late on the River Heights development project. My name is Cecilia, and until this moment, I thought I knew what betrayal felt like. You deserve to know. He's planning to leave you for her. The message beneath the photo was stark, unsigned. The steady beep of Mom's heart monitor filled the silence as I stared at the screen, my hands trembling. I zoomed in on the image, searching for signs of manipulation, desperate to find evidence that this was some cruel joke. But the details were crisp, undeniable: the familiar gray suit he'd worn to work yesterday, Jessica's signature red lipstick, the genuine intimacy of their embrace. Mom? I whispered, needing someone to talk to, even though I knew she couldn't respond properly since her stroke. Her eyes remained closed, face peaceful in sleep, unaware of how my world was crumbling. My phone buzzed again. Mark, meeting running late. Don't wait up. I typed and deleted responses 5 times before settling on, everything okay? Just busy. Jessica and I are finalizing the investor presentation. Jessica and I. The casual mention of her name made bile rise in my throat. I wanted to vomit, to scream, to forward him the damning photo. Instead, I wrote, okay. Love you. He didn't reply. A nurse entered, checking Mom's vitals. Mrs. Walker, you should head home, get some rest. We'll take good care of your mother tonight. I nodded, gathering my things on autopilot. The drive home was a blur of street lights and racing thoughts. 23 years of marriage. A son in college. A life built together, brick by brick. And now this. The house was dark when I arrived. I stood in our kitchen, surrounded by the evidence of our shared life, family photos on the fridge, the coffee maker Mark had given me for Christmas, the calendar marked with our upcoming anniversary dinner. My phone buzzed. A text from Liam, our son. Everything okay, Mom? You usually call on Thursdays. God, Liam. How would this affect him? I pressed my palms against the cool granite countertop, steadying myself. Just tired, sweetie. How's classes? Good. Dad sent me extra money for books yesterday. Pretty generous, like $2,000. Weird timing since semester just started, but I'm not complaining. $2,000. The number hit me like a physical blow. I opened our joint account app, scrolling through recent transactions. There it was, not just the transfer to Liam, but a pattern of large withdrawals over the past 3 months. Money being moved to accounts I couldn't access. He wasn't just having an affair. He was preparing for something bigger. The garage door hummed to life, and headlights swept across the kitchen windows. Mark was home. I quickly closed the banking app and wiped my eyes, wondering if he'd be able to see the devastation on my face, wondering if he'd even care enough to look. The door opened, and his footsteps approached. I gripped the counter harder, my wedding ring pressing painfully into my finger. Hey, he said, dropping his keys on the counter. You're up late. I turned to face him, studying the man I thought I knew. How was your meeting? He loosened his tie, not quite meeting my eyes. Productive. We're making good progress. I bet you are, I thought, watching him pour himself a glass of water, acting like everything was normal. Like he hadn't just been caught in the act of destroying our family. That's good, I said, My voice steadied despite the storm raging inside me. I'm glad you and Jessica work so well together. He paused, just for a fraction of a second, before responding. Yeah, she's good at what she does. I smiled, tasting blood where I'd bitten the inside of my cheek. I'm sure she is. 3 days of watching, waiting, pretending. Every morning I kiss Mark goodbye like nothing's changed. Every night I lie beside him, counting his breaths, wondering if he dreams of her. The space between us grows wider with each passing hour. Rachel stirs her coffee, watching me from across the cafe table. Have you confronted him about the photo? What's the point? My fingers trace the rim of my untouched latte. He'll deny it, like he denies everything else. You need proof, Cecilia. Real proof, not just a photo from an anonymous source. I pull out my phone, opening the banking app. Look at this. 3 separate transfers last month, $50,000 each. The money's going somewhere, and it's not just to Liam anymore. Rachel leans forward, squinting at the screen. Jesus. That's not pocket change. And there's more. I swipe through my photo gallery, showing her pictures I've taken of Mark's recent credit card statements. Hotel charges. Expensive restaurants. All on days he claimed to be working late. With Jessica. Who else? The bitterness in my voice surprises even me. She's 28, Rachel. 28. I was managing diapers and midnight feedings at her age. My phone buzzes. It's the hospital, Mom's having a difficult morning. I gather my things, but Rachel catches my wrist. Don't do anything rash. Let me help you figure this out. I'm fine. I'm not fine. Nothing is fine. At the hospital, I find Mom agitated, trying to speak but producing only frustrated sounds. The nurse explains she's been like this all morning. I sit beside her, holding her hand, wishing she could tell me what to do like she used to. My phone chimes with a text from Mark, working from home today. Important calls. I respond with a simple, okay, while opening the tracking app one installed on his phone last night. The blue dot shows him at the Meridian Hotel downtown. Working from home indeed. The nurse touches my shoulder. Mrs. Walker, your mother's trying to say something. Mom's eyes are focused on me, really seeing me for the first time in days. She manages 2 clear words, not right. What's not right, Mom? She gestures weakly at my face, at my phone, at everything. Him, not right. My throat tightens. Even in her condition, she knows. She sees. Another text arrives, this time from Liam. Mom, what's going on? Dad's acting weird. He asked me not to mention the money he sent to you. I stare at the message, my hands shaking. Mark is covering his tracks, using our son as a shield. The rage that's been building inside me threatens to explode. I'll be right back, Mom. I step into the hallway, dialing Liam's number. Hey, sweetie. Mom, are you and Dad okay? Everything's fine. The lie tastes like ash. Why do you ask? He called me this morning, asking weird questions about our conversations. About money. He seemed nervous. I press my forehead against the cool hospital wall. Liam, I need you to trust me right now. Don't tell your father anything else about our conversations, okay? A long pause. Mom, you're scaring me. I know, baby. I'm scared too. After hanging up, I check the tracking app again. Mark's dot is moving, heading toward his office. I open my laptop, logging into his email account using the password I discovered last night. New messages pop up, dozens between him and Jessica, each one more intimate than the last. The latest email makes my blood run cold, everything's arranged. The papers will be ready next week. She won't see it coming. Papers. He's planning to blindside me with divorce papers while he's been systematically draining our accounts. Mom's monitor starts beeping rapidly. Nurses rush in as she becomes more agitated, trying to speak, trying to warn me about something I already know. I stand in the doorway, watching them calm her down, feeling a strange sense of clarity wash over me. Mark thinks I won't see it coming. He thinks I'm still the trusting wife, the devoted mother, the dutiful daughter. He's about to learn how wrong he is. I pull out my phone and text Rachel, "You're right. I need proof. And I know exactly how to get it." The bank statement trembles in my hands as I sit in my parked car outside Mark's office building. $200,000, transferred yesterday to an account I've never seen before. Not just draining our savings anymore, he's mortgaged the house. My house. The home where I raised our son. My phone rings. It's Sandra from accounting at Mark's company, returning my call. "I shouldn't be telling you this," she whispers, "but Jessica's been promoted to partner. The paperwork went through last week. Mark pushed it through personally." "Partner?" My voice sounds distant, hollow. "She's been there less than a year. There's more. They're launching a new development project together. Just the two of them. The budget is..." She pauses. "It's substantial." The pieces click together. Our money, his secret account, Jessica's sudden promotion. They're not just having an affair, they're building their future with my past. I end the call and check the tracking app. Mark's dot shows him in the conference room. Perfect. I grab my laptop bag and head inside, nodding to the security guard who's known me for years. "Mrs. Walker. Haven't seen you in ages. Just bringing Mark some documents he forgot." The elevator rides feels endless. My heart pounds as I approach his office, but his assistant's desk is empty, lunch break. I slip inside, plug a small device into his computer, and wait the excruciating 30 seconds while it copies his hard drive. Voices in the hallway. I recognize Jessica's laugh. "The divorce papers are ready," Mark says. "Once they're filed." I duck into his private bathroom, leaving the door cracked. They enter his office. She suspects nothing. Jessica's voice drips with satisfaction. She's too busy with her mother to notice anything. By the time she figures it out, everything will be in place. And Liam? He'll understand eventually. Kids are resilient. I bite my knuckles to keep from screaming. Through the crack, I watch Jessica perch on Mark's desk, her skirt riding up as she crosses her legs. "We should celebrate," she purrs. "The Meridian, tonight?" "Can't. Cecilia's mother has some medical thing. I have to make an appearance." "You won't have to keep up appearances much longer." Their kiss makes me gag. When they finally leave, I retrieve my device with shaking hands. At home, I pore through the copied files. Emails, contracts, bank statements, the evidence of their betrayal laid bare in pixels and PDFs. They've been planning this for months. The new development project is their escape route, funded partly with my money. My phone buzzes. The hospital. "Mrs. Walker, your mother's had another episode. She's asking for you." I find Mom agitated again, but her eyes are clear when I enter. She grabs my hand with surprising strength. "The picture," she manages to say. "In my room." "What picture, Mom?" She becomes frustrated, gesturing wildly. A nurse helps me understand, she wants me to check her house. I drive there, using my key to enter the silent home. In her bedroom, I find what she meant, a photo album I've never seen before, hidden in her closet. Inside are pictures of my father, who left us when I was young. But these aren't family photos, they're surveillance shots. Bank statements. Hotel receipts. Mom had hired a private investigator to track him. She'd gathered evidence, built a case, and then used it to secure our future in the divorce. She never told me. Never let on how calculated her response had been. My phone chimes with a text from Mark, working late again. Don't wait up. I closed the album, understanding flooding through me. Mom hadn't just been a victim of betrayal, she'd been a warrior. And now she's trying to tell me something. Don't just gather evidence, use it. I call Rachel. I need your help with something. How good are you with computers? Decent. Why? I stare at the files from Mark's computer, at Mom's album of evidence, at the pieces of my unraveling life. Because I'm done being the victim in this story. It's time to become the author. The hospital corridor stretches endlessly before me as I rush toward the ICU. Mom's second stroke hit while I was combing through Mark's files. The universe has a cruel sense of timing. Tom's already there when I arrive, his first visit since Mom's initial stroke. He pulls me into a tight hug. You look like hell, Cece. Thanks. You flew all the way from Seattle to tell me that. He studies my face. I flew here because you're not telling me everything in our calls. Before I can respond, the doctor approaches. Mom's condition is critical but stable. The next 48 hours are crucial. I sink into a chair, exhaustion washing over me. Where's Mark? Tom asks. Working. The lie comes automatically now. Important client meeting. Tom pulls out his phone, scrolling through something. Funny. According to his Instagram, he's at the Rivera Club. Posted 30 minutes ago. My head snaps up. What? He turns the screen toward me. There's Mark at a charity gala, his arm around Jessica's waist. The caption reads, "Celebrating our newest partner and the future of Walker Development." Want to tell me what's really going on? I start to speak, but my phone buzzes. A text from Liam, "Mom, why is Dad posting about Jessica? Everyone at school is talking about it. The walls feel like they're closing in." I forward Tom the photos, the bank statements, everything I've gathered. Jesus Christ, he whispers, scrolling through the evidence. Have you talked to a lawyer? I can't. Not yet. If Mark suspects anything. Mrs. Walker. A nurse interrupts. Your mother's asking for you. Mom's awake, but barely coherent. Her right side is completely paralyzed now. She grabs my hand with her good one, trying to speak. Save, save. Save what, Mom? She points weakly at her bedside table where her purse sits. I open it, finding a safety deposit box key I've never seen before. Important, she manages to say before drifting off again. Tom appears in the doorway. Cece, there's something else you need to see. In the waiting room, he pulls up property records on his laptop. The mortgage documents I found weren't just for our house. Mark has leveraged every property we own, including Mom's house, which he somehow gained control of through a power of attorney I never signed. He's stealing everything, I whisper. Even Mom's home. Not everything. Tom points to the safety deposit box key. Mom was always 3 steps ahead of everyone. Remember how she handled Dad? I think of the photo album, of her meticulous evidence gathering. The bank closes in an hour. Go. I'll stay with her. At the bank, the safety deposit box reveals another layer of Mom's foresight. Documents proving the power of attorney was forged. Offshore account numbers. A letter detailing how she transferred her most valuable assets into a trust for me and Liam years ago, a trust Mark can't touch. My phone buzzes with an email from Mark, working late again. Don't wait up. I check the tracking app. He's at the Meridian Hotel. Again. Tom calls. Mom's awake. She's more lucid, but... He pauses. She's asking for a lawyer. Says there's something you need to know about Mark's company. What about it? She keeps mentioning proof and fraud. Cece, I think she knows something big. I stare at the trust documents, at the hotel location on my phone, at the Instagram post that's still burning in my mind. Mark thinks he's won. He thinks he's taken everything. But Mom knew. She knew and she prepared. Just like she did with Dad. I text Rachel, remember when you offered to help? I need you to dig into Walker Development's financials. Mom says there's fraud. Her response is immediate, already on it. You're not going to believe what I found. I start the car, my hands steady on the wheel for the first time in days. Mark and Jessica aren't just stealing my life, they're building their future on a foundation of lies. And now, thanks to Mom, I have the tools to tear it all down. The question isn't whether to destroy them anymore. The question is how much damage I want to do when I do. Rachel's forensic analysis of Walker Development's financials fills my laptop screen. Shell companies. Falsified permits. Investor funds redirected through offshore accounts. The corruption runs deeper than I imagined. Mark's not just cheating on you, Rachel says through the phone. He's cheating everyone. I scroll through the documents, my hands trembling. And Jessica? She's been helping him hide the money. That's why he made her partner, she knows where all the bodies are buried. The tracking app shows Mark's dot moving toward the Meridian Hotel again. I grab my keys. Cecilia, wait. What are you doing? Getting proof. We already have proof. Not the kind I need. The hotel lobby is all marble and mirrors. I've never felt more invisible as I slip past the front desk, following the path I've memorized from Mark's previous visits. 23rd floor. Room 2312. Their voices carry through the door. I hold up my phone, recording. The SEC filing is complete, Jessica says. Once the merger goes through next week, the old accounts will be buried. And Cecilia? Mark's voice makes my skin crawl. The divorce papers are ready. By the time she figures out what happened to her mother's house, it'll be too late. My phone buzzes, Tom calling from the hospital. I silence it, pressing closer to the door. What about Liam? Jessica asks. He's young. He'll adjust. Besides, the money we're making will more than make up for. The elevator dings. I duck around the corner as an elderly couple passes. When I return, the voices have moved to the balcony. Through the gap in the curtains, I can see them, champagne glasses in hand. To us, Mark says, pulling Jessica close. And to never looking back. I take photos, my hands steady despite the rage building inside me. Then Jessica says something that stops my heart. Should we tell Liam about the baby? The phone slips from my grasp, clattering against the door. Inside, silence falls. I run. Down the emergency stairs, through the lobby, into my car. My phone won't stop buzzing, Tom, Rachel, even Liam. I ignore them all, driving until I reach Mom's house. The living room is dark, filled with memories of a life Mark is trying to steal. I sink onto the couch, finally checking my messages. Tom, Mom's awake. She's asking for you. It's important. Rachel, found something big. Call me now. Liam, Mom, what's going on? Dad just called about some trust fund. A key turns in the lock. Mark's voice carries from the entryway, Cecilia. Your car's outside. I don't move as he enters, flipping on the lights. He freezes when he sees me. What are you doing here? He asks. Remembering. I hold up my phone, playing the recording from the hotel. His face drains of color. It's not what you think. Congratulations, I cut him off. On the baby. On the merger. On thinking you could steal my mother's house while she's dying in the hospital. He takes a step forward. Let me explain. I found Mom's safety deposit box. I watch his expression shift. And Rachel found your offshore accounts. Whatever you think you know. I know everything, Mark. Every lie. Every theft. Every betrayal. I stand, surprisingly calm. The only question is, what am I going to do about it? His mask slips, revealing something ugly beneath. You'll do nothing. You can't prove anything without implicating yourself in corporate espionage. Maybe. I move toward the door. But I learned something from my mother. Sometimes losing everything is worth it to destroy someone who deserves it. Don't threaten me, Cecilia. It's not a threat. I turn back, meeting his eyes. It's a promise. You took my marriage, my home, my trust. Now I'm going to take everything from you. His laugh is cold. You don't have it in you. I think of Mom's photo album, of her meticulous revenge against Dad. Of Jessica's hand on her stomach, of Liam's confusion, of 23 years of lies. Watch me. The SEC documents feel heavy in my hands as I sit in Jessica's office, waiting. Rachel's analysis proved what Mom had suspected. Mark and Jessica have been running a Ponzi scheme through Walker Development for years. The evidence could destroy them both. The door opens. Jessica freezes when she sees me. Security, she starts to call out. Is busy dealing with a situation in the parking garage. I gesture to the chair across from me. Sit down. She remains standing, one hand protectively over her stomach. How did you get in here? The same way I got into your email. Your offshore accounts. Your little love nest at the Meridian. I spread the documents across her desk. You've been busy. Whatever you think you know. I know everything. I tap the top document. Including what really happened to the River Heights investor funds. Her composure cracks. Mark handled those accounts. And you helped him hide the money. Just like you helped him try to steal my mother's house while she was dying. That's not. She stops, studying my face. What do you want? Originally. Revenge. But now. I stand, moving closer. Now I want justice. For what? Your failed marriage. That's hardly my fault. For the families you and Mark defrauded. For my son, whose trust fund you emptied. For my mother, whose house you tried to steal. My phone buzzes, Tom calling from the hospital again. I ignore it. You're bluffing, Jessica says. You can't prove anything without implicating yourself. Maybe. But I've already sent copies to the SEC, the FBI, and every major news outlet in the city. I check my watch. They should be arriving right about. Her computer chimes with incoming emails. Her face pales as she reads. You're going to destroy everything, she whispers. No. You and Mark did that yourselves. The office door bursts open. Mark storms in, face contorted with rage. What have you done? What you taught me to do. I hold up my phone, showing the trending news alert about Walker Development's fraudulent activities. I learned from the best. You stupid bitch. He grabs my arm. Do you have any idea what you've cost us? Mark, stop, Jessica steps forward, but he shoves her back. Everything we built. You built nothing, I snap. You stole. You lied. You. The slap catches me off guard, sending me stumbling into the desk. Papers scatter across the floor. Security. Jessica screams. My phone buzzes again. Tom. This time I answer. Mom's crashing, he says. You need to get here now. The world stops. Mark is still yelling, Jessica is crying, security is rushing in, but all I can hear is the monitor beeping in Mom's hospital room. I'm on my way, I whisper. You're not going anywhere. Mark blocks the door. Not until you fix this. I look at him, really look at him, and feel nothing but pity. You still don't get it, do you? There's nothing left to fix. I'll destroy you, he threatens. You already tried. I push past him. But Mom taught me something important. Sometimes you have to burn everything down to build something better. In the elevator, my phone lights up with notifications. The story is breaking everywhere. Mark and Jessica's faces splashed across news sites. Their empire crumbling in real time. But none of it matters now. Mom is dying, and I might not make it in time. All my carefully laid plans, all my righteous revenge, and I might miss the moment that matters most. The hospital parking lot is a blur. I run through corridors, past nurses and visitors, my heart pounding. Tom meets me outside Mom's room, his face grim. She was asking for you. Is she? She's waiting. I enter the room, taking Mom's hand. Her eyes flutter open. Did you? She struggles to speak. Did you get them? Yes, Mom. Just like you taught me. She squeezes my hand weakly. Good girl. The monitor starts beeping faster as Mom's eyes close again. I've won everything, and I'm about to lose what matters most. Sometimes revenge costs more than we're willing to pay. The Walker Development Annual Investor Gala fills the hotel ballroom with diamonds and designer suits. I adjust my black dress, feeling the USB drive press against my ribs from its hidden pocket. 20 years of attending these events as Mark's wife, and finally, I'm here for myself. Mark spots me from across the room, his face darkening. He excuses himself from a group of investors and strides over. You shouldn't be here, he hisses. I'm still your wife. I sip my champagne. For now. Whatever you're planning. Ladies and gentlemen. Jessica's voice rings out from the podium. If I could have your attention. She looks radiant, her pregnancy barely showing beneath her red designer dress. The crowd quiets as she begins her presentation about Walker Development's bright future. You can still stop this, Mark whispers. I meet his eyes. Like you stopped stealing from our son's trust fund. His fingers dig into my arm. Think about Liam. I am thinking about Liam. And Mom. And every investor you've defrauded. Jessica's voice carries across the room, and now, I'm excited to announce our newest development project. The screens behind her flicker. Instead of architectural renderings, email exchanges between her and Mark appear. Bank statements. Hotel receipts. Photos from the Meridian. Jessica falters. There seems to be a technical. More documents flash across the screens. Proof of the Ponzi scheme. Forged signatures. Offshore accounts. The room erupts in murmurs. Investors pull out phones, taking pictures of the evidence. You bitch, Mark snarls, reaching for me. Tom steps between us. Touch her and I call the police right now. They're already on their way, Rachel adds, appearing at my side. Jessica abandons the podium, rushing toward us. Mark, they know everything. Not quite everything. I turn to address the shocked crowd. Did you know they're having a baby? Paid for with your investment funds, of course. Shut up. Mark lunges forward. Several investors block his path. Someone shouts about calling their lawyer. It's over, Mark. I remove his hand from my arm. The SEC has everything. The FBI is investigating. Your empire is finished. You've destroyed our family, he spits. No. My voice carries across the suddenly silent room. You did that when you chose her over us. When you stole from our son. When you tried to take my mother's house while she was dying. Mrs. Walker. A man in a dark suit approaches, flanked by others. FBI. We need to speak with your husband. Mark's face contorts. You think you've won. You've got nothing without me. You're nothing. That's where you're wrong. I step closer, my voice low. I'm my mother's daughter. And she taught me how to survive men like you. Jessica starts crying as agents lead them away. The ballroom dissolves into chaos, investors demanding answers, reporters arriving, cameras flashing. My phone buzzes. The hospital. Mom's awake, Tom says, reading the message. She's asking for you. I nod, suddenly exhausted. Let's go. Cecilia. Mark calls out as they lead him past. Please. We can fix this. I turn back one last time. No, Mark. We can't. But I can fix what you broke. Starting with our family. Rachel squeezes my hand. Need company at the hospital? No. I straighten my shoulders, feeling lighter than I have in months. I need to tell Mom that her daughter finally learned her lesson. Which is? I watch Mark and Jessica being escorted out, their perfect future crumbling around them. That sometimes the best revenge isn't about destroying someone else. It's about saving yourself. The night air is cool as we leave the hotel. Behind us, Mark's carefully constructed lies collapse like a house of cards. Ahead, Mom waits in her hospital room, proud and fierce even in her weakness. I learned from the best, after all. And now it's time to rebuild what's left of our family, stronger than before. Sometimes you have to burn everything down to see what survives the flames. The morning newspaper sits unopened on Mom's hospital tray. Walker Development CEO arrested, screams from the headline, but she's more interested in watching me pack her things. Home, she says firmly, her speech still halting but improving daily. Are you sure? The doctor said. Home. She grips my hand with surprising strength. Together. The door opens, and Liam steps in, his face tight with emotion. He hasn't spoken to me since the news broke about Mark's arrest. Hey, Grandma. He kisses her cheek, then turns to me. Dad's lawyer called. He wants me to testify about the trust fund. You don't have to. I want to. His jaw sets in a way that reminds me of myself. He stole from all of us. Mom reaches for both our hands, pulling us closer. Family, stronger. The trust in her eyes makes my throat tight. She knew all along, not just about Mark's betrayal, but about my strength to handle it. Rachel appears in the doorway. The house is ready. Tom's handling the paperwork for the medical equipment. We move Mom home in stages, first the wheelchair, then the careful transfer to the car. As we drive, I notice the "For Sale" sign in front of the Walker house. Mark's defense lawyers are scrambling to liquidate assets. Did you know? Liam asks suddenly. About Jessica's baby? Yes. He stares out the window. Will you help them? The baby, I mean. It's technically my half-sibling. The question catches me off guard. In all my planning for revenge, I never considered this innocent consequence. If they let me, I say finally. Family is family. Mom squeezes my hand from the back seat. At home, Mom's house, now our house, everything has been rearranged to accommodate her needs. The living room where I found her photo album is now her bedroom. The dining room where she taught me strength is her therapy space. As we settle her in, my phone buzzes with a text from Mark's number. I'm sorry for everything. Please tell Liam I'm sorry too. I show Liam the message. He reads it, then deletes it. Some things can't be fixed with sorry, he says. Mom gestures at the TV, where news coverage of Walker Development's collapse plays silently. I move to turn it off, but she stops me. Watch, she insists. Remember. We sit together, watching Mark and Jessica being led away in handcuffs. The reporters talk about millions in stolen funds, years of fraud, lives destroyed by greed. You did the right thing, Rachel says from the doorway. Even if it doesn't feel like it sometimes. Mom points at the screen, then at me. Like mother, like daughter. What do you mean? She mimes taking pictures, referring to her own evidence gathering years ago. Then she makes a sweeping gesture at our newly arranged home, at Liam, at our rebuilt family. Not just revenge, she manages. Justice, and after. I understand suddenly. Mom's revenge against Dad wasn't just about destroying him, it was about building something stronger from the ashes. Just like I'm doing now. The doorbell rings. Tom enters with an envelope. The trust transfer is complete. Everything Mom put aside for you and Liam is secure. Mark can't touch it. And the house? I ask. Safe. In your name now. Mom nods approvingly, then gestures for her photo album. I retrieve it, and she opens to the last page. There's a new photo there, one I didn't place. It shows me at the investor gala, standing tall as Mark is led away. How did you? Rachel, Mom says, smiling. I look at Rachel, who shrugs. She asked me to take it. Said something about completing the story. Mom pats the album. Your story, not finished. No, I agree, watching Liam help adjust her pillows, seeing Tom and Rachel move around our reclaimed home like guardians. But the next chapter will be better. She closes the album with finality. Together. The evening light filters through the windows, casting long shadows across our new beginning. Outside, the world is still dealing with the aftermath of Mark's betrayal. But in here, surrounded by the family I protected and the strength I inherited, I finally understand. Sometimes the greatest victory isn't in the revenge itself, but in what you choose to build from its ashes.